track your location? Well, I think if you are during employment hours and you are delivering goods or you're calling on customers or you have to go on site to various locations, I think they can track where you're at during the operational hours of when you're working for them, when they're paying you, when you're on the clock. Now that stops the minute you're off the clock and it's your personal time. Well, when you say use your own personal phone, do they have a tracker on your phone? I don't know that that's allowed. I I think they're allowed to do that. I really do because you're on their time. They're paying you for that time. They want to know that they're working. I mean, it's no different than kind of like what I do. I have to fill out a timesheet and I have to let the firm know where I'm at, how long I was in court, how many hours I was with this client or that client, how many letters I sent. I mean, they want to know what you're doing to earn your income. And so during work hours, I don't think it's unreasonable for an employer to want to know where you're at during the hours they're paying you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Wow. And that's why you had a favorable outcome because you put your love for your daughter. You love your daughter more than you disliked your ex-wife. And so you put your child's needs first. And I think the more people that are willing to do that and put our own personal differences aside, adults could disagree and we could work through our differences, but where we're parents, and I tell people, you may not be husband and wife very much longer, but you're always going to be mom and dad. You're always going to be mom and dad. And life is hard enough for these kids. I mean, I see the challenges that they face today, and they're nothing like the things that I faced back in my day growing up. I mean, I grew up in a simpler time. I'm sure you did too. These kids have to deal with things that we never had to deal with, social media and bullying and all that kind of stuff. And I really want to make sure that children are protected and taken care of. And you had a favorable outcome because you love your daughter and you put her first. So I commend you for that. How old is she now? And sometimes as parents, good. I would, yeah, it sounded like both of the parents that you acted in concert trying to protect and preserve your daughter's best interest. Sometimes, however, sometimes we have to allow our children to make their own mistakes as much as we want to tell them what to do and be there for them and but you can't tell them everything to do. Occasionally they have to make their own decision, make their own mistakes, and you just hope they learn from it and nothing too terrible happens. Well, I could take that a step further. I was told, listen, you could do whatever you want, be whatever you want, work wherever you want, but you're going to graduate from law school first. You're going to go to law school, and then if you want to play in a band, play in a band. Thank you. Thank you. You know, the tragedy is no two people are the same. No two children are the same. Some children respond very well in a strict environment and with a routine and parents that kind of keep a heavy hand. Yeah, you have to find a happy balance of, yes, you have to have a balance of discipline and love. However, some children can be very, very difficult and they don't respond well to discipline or structure. And in those cases, you do the best you can. You love them as much as you can, and you try to guide them where you can. But yeah, I'm a big believer that it takes a village to raise a child, and that children, shouldn't be left to their own devices. And even though you're 16, 17, and you're feeling like you're grown and you're an adult, you're not going to be too successful on your own in this world at 16 or 17. So you still need a parent's guidance, a parent's love, and their life experiences, because they're just trying to prepare you for life. That's our job as parents. We want to prepare our children for life so that they can become upstanding, law-abiding, hardworking adults. Right? It is. It is. But, and I got to tell you, it's been my experience. Now, I have less trouble with people paying child support. I have more trouble with people paying spousal support. That's where somebody says, yeah, it's my child. I'll pay for the child, but I'm not paying her or I'm not paying him because, they're divorcing me. So why would I pay? Why would I have to support them after we're divorced? And, I say, well, you have to look at the length of marriage. You have to look at, is there a disparity in income? I've had people say, well, I'll quit my job so I don't have to pay him or her a dime. And that's where the court does have guidelines, and they look at your last 3 years. What have you earned in your last 3 years? They look at your tax returns. If you've made $80,000 or $100,000 and now you're making minimum wage, you're going to face a serious inquiry as to why your income was so significantly reduced. And if it's reduced because of, well, yes. All right. So now you lead to a very interesting topic. So what the court does is if you voluntarily diminished your income, they're going to project you at whatever you earned before you quit that job or voluntarily took a lesser paying job. Now, if your company shuts down, if the industry folds, if you lose that job through no fault of your own, well, then the court's going to go on whatever your income is to determine if you owe spousal support. When you say, well, I'm 60 years old and I want to retire, I'm able to retire, and I've been married for 35 years, the court's going to say, well, was your wife or husband, were they the primary wage earner or were you? Well, I was. I made the most money through the 35 years of marriage. They're going to say, you have a support obligation. You have to take care of this person because for 35 years, they had obligations in the home while you went out and worked. And I know you're 60, but the 7th District Court of Appeals, I was involved in a case that says you have to, where there's a support obligation, you have to work until you're 67. So that's what this our own 7th District Court said, that if you have a support obligation. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to work until they're 67 to pay child support or spousal support, because particularly spousal support. If you're married for, 10 years and you're 30 years old, well, there's going to be a formula to determine how long you pay spousal support. Not really a formula, but on a 10-year marriage, you're not going to pay spousal support that long. I'm talking about long-term marriages. So, if you've been married 35 years and you were the primary breadwinner and your spouse was the stay-at-home, TLC, nurtured the children and raised the children, you're going to support that person until you're eligible to retire, which the 7th District put at 67. It's yes. Yeah. Oh, I've had plenty of women pay men support, and that was not what's that? Yeah. Okay, first half down. Oh my God, is my phone dead? Yeah.